y de saber más sobre él. Bueno, hoy es una sesión un poco especial porque contamos, aparte de con Claudine, que nos va a contar todos los detalles sobre sus 5 lots de lujo ubicados en distintas localizaciones, vamos a contar con la presencia de Alberto Romo, que se encuentra con
Muy
Claudine
buenas
en Bhutan.
tardes y saludos desde Paro, Bután. Qué ilusión y qué extraño a la vez. Tengo la oportunidad de, por coincidencia, estar en el destino y voy a estar aquí acompañando tanto a Claudine como a todos vosotros para cualquier duda, cualquier pregunta que se os ocurra. Y si queréis, pues luego al final, pues contar un poquito qué tal ha sido la subida al Tiger Nest que he tenido la oportunidad de hacer en el día de hoy. Así que bienvenidos a todos y muchísimas gracias por acompañarnos un jueves. So, Claudine, is your time?
Okay, fantastic, everybody. So we start with a slide which gives us a sense of place, because that's very important. As we are, when we talk about Six Senses Bhutan, we have to also talk about Bhutan, the destination. And this slide is actually a slide taken at our lodge in Thimphu, looking out over the snow-capped peaks. It's a winter shot. And of course, Bhutan is at the roof of the world in the Himalayas. And let me just go forward with my slide. Just give me a second, please. Let's see if this is working. So, Bhutan is a little known destination, which makes it, I think, something of a mystery, and not perhaps so easy to sell or to describe to your clients if you haven't been here. As I mentioned, it's a tiny little Himalayan kingdom surrounded by large neighbors like China to the north and India to the south.
Claudine,
But it's
so sorry to interrupt you, but people is saying in the chat that it's very difficult to hear you well. There's like very like a noise in the background.
okay. Okay, let's see. We're in the lodge here in Paro. I have to apologize in advance if I'm going to try to speak a little bit louder and a little bit clearer. But I have to say one thing that Bhutan is not famous for is its internet. So I hope that you'll be able to hear me. Is that clearer now to everybody? Is that a little easier to hear?
For
It's
me,
more good.
it
It's
is.
more good now. Yeah, it's more good now.
More good. Okay, very good. Thank you. We'll also try to close down the background music, which maybe will help a bit as well. Please do stop me if you're not able to hear. So, coming back to Bhutan as a destination, Bhutan opened its doors to tourism 50 years ago only. And since that time, it's always had a very special approach to tourism. And that is called high value, low impact. So what that means is that the Bhutanese are very warm. They welcome visitors, but on their terms. They don't want to have large numbers. They're not interested in mass tourism. They're interested in small numbers of interested visitors who are coming here to engage respectfully with the local culture, to respect the ecosystem, to not have too much of an impact on the local culture, which to this day remains quite authentic and quite pure. So very, very different than, let's say, its neighbors, perhaps in Nepal or places like Thailand, where they really welcome all kinds of tourism. And they have something here called an SDF, a Sustainability Development Fund, that every tourist or visitor to Bhutan has to pay. And this is $100 a day per guest, for however long they're going to be in the kingdom. So just having this $100 a day charge really helps to filter out the kinds of visitors that come and the numbers of visitors that come. In addition to that, there are only 2 airlines that fly into Bhutan, the national carrier Air and Bhutan Airlines. And there's only one valley at the moment that you can fly into. There's only one international airport. So this factor as well kind of controls the number of people that come into Bhutan every year. And I think, well, you're all from Spain, or many of you from Spain, and you know somehow the negative effects of too much tourism on a place, because I know that this is an issue that comes up in Spain quite often now. The reward of keeping it small, keeping the numbers small, keeping it high end is, of course, that the people who do come here are able to experience an authentic living culture. And Bhutan is the last of the Himalayan kingdoms, Buddhist kingdoms. Of course, we know Tibet is now part of China, and Darjeeling, Sikkim, Ladakh are all part of India. So it's really the last independent royal Buddhist kingdom, which is very interesting. And it's got this living culture. And yes, it is modernizing and changing, but still their rituals, their beliefs, the way they preserve their culture and their country is still very much apparent when you're here. And the other nice thing is that you're not surrounded by lots of other people. And I think that's also a kind of luxury in today's time. Fewer people, authentic culture, away from mass tourism. In addition to that, Bhutan, now here it says the world's only. Actually, now there are two other countries, but it was the world's first carbon negative country. So that means they're producing more oxygen than they're taking in. You can see this beautiful photo here of this pristine forest. And Bhutan actually has in its constitution that 63% of the landmass of Bhutan needs to remain under forest cover. So again, another reward for the visitor to Bhutan, clean, pristine, natural environment that is well kept and well protected by the Bhutanese themselves. I did mention to you that this is the last of the Buddhist Himalayan kingdoms, and this is a photo of King Jigme and Queen Jetsen. They're very, very popular, and it creates a kind of very respectful hierarchical culture here, where the king, wherever you go in the country, you'll see photos of him, extremely well-loved leader, and a humble leader who tries to preserve the culture in a meaningful way while developing the country. As I mentioned to you, the Bhutanese are very hospitable. Wherever you go in the kingdom, you'll be warmly welcomed with smiles and greetings. You can see here these school children, they're wearing what's called a go, which is the Bhutanese male traditional dress. And the women wear something called a kira. And all the Bhutanese up through high school years wear this every single day to school, when they go to government offices, when there are rituals or temples that they go to. They take a lot of pride in their traditional culture and in their traditional dress. And when Alberto comes back on the screen in a moment, you're going to see he's wearing a go tonight as well. Who should go to Bhutan? Okay, it's not for everybody. It's a destination for people who are already, I think, curious, experienced travelers who want to, maybe they've heard about it, maybe it's on their bucket list. It might be for people who are looking for some spiritual journey, interest in culture, interest in Buddhism. Bhutan offers a rich history of art, architecture, and of course I mentioned to you the beautiful nature. So if a guest is interested in hiking or in biking, then this is a beautiful destination for them. Most visitors want a combination of all of these things. So they're curious about spirituality, they want to learn about the culture. It's something very different than what we have in North America or in Europe. And of course, they also want to be active. And so often, for example, you might hike, but hike to a monastery where you engage with the monks and talk to them and learn about their lives and their culture. This is the kind of experience that we offer here in Bhutan, a very engaged, and so yes, it is for the guest who probably has already been to Asia before and who's looking to go a bit deeper and to get more off the beaten track. Here's a map of Bhutan. And as I mentioned to you, China to the north, or Tibet, and India all around to the south. Being in the Himalayas, this is a country that's cut through by rivers and high mountain passes. So each valley has its own unique character. And when you come to Bhutan, you don't just go to one valley. Normally, you come and you make a journey. Six Senses Bhutan has 5 lodges, which are spread across the western and central valleys of the kingdom. You can see on the left side of the screen, you fly into Paro, which is the only international airport at this moment in time. And then normally what you would do is go down directly to Thimphu. That's about an hour and a half drive, a little less, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. Spend 2 nights there, then head north to Punakha, spend 2 or 3 nights there. Now, I have to mention that the Spanish market, they generally like to combine Bhutan with another destination, perhaps Thailand, perhaps Nepal. So what I see as a trend from your market are 6-night stays, sometimes 7, rarely more than 7. But what I want to tell you today is that Bhutan can be a destination in its own right. And to do the full 5-valley circuit, you really need like 11 or 12 days at least. If your guests don't have that much time, or they do want to combine, I would still encourage you to do the 4-valley circuit, which is what Alberto is here doing with me right now, and which would require at least 8 nights. And that would get you out to Dante, which you see here. And then, of course, you drive back to Paro and you finish in Paro, where I'll show you where Tiger's Nest is. And that's where you depart from. Each valley has a different look, a different feel, and each of our lodges is different. And so it makes it for an interesting journey. Okay, I want to talk about what is special about Six Senses Bhutan. Of course, before Six Senses Bhutan opened its first lodge in 2019, Aman Kora was here, and they've been in the kingdom for 23 years. They also have 5 lodges. They're also in the same valleys, or we can say we are in the same valleys that they are in because they were here first. And they were the pioneers of luxury in the kingdom. Many of you have probably sold the Amakor journey, and there are some similarities, i.e. that we have 5 lodges, that we are luxury brands, that we offer immersive experiences, but there are some differences. Apart from the hardware, meaning like apart from the fact that Six Senses came along 20 years later and that we have swimming pools and gyms and, you know, expansive facilities and larger rooms, all of this, I would say the 2 key differences for you to consider is the location of the lodges, because Six Senses Bhutan is set up quite high above each valley floor, which affords you amazing views. This is the view here that you're looking at from our lodge in Paro, where I am at the moment, whereas the Aman lodges tend to be built on the valley floor in a forest or closed in by trees. So it's a bit different in that way. Another difference, of course, being Six Senses, we have a very, very strong wellness bent. As I mentioned to you, there are, apart from the dedicated spa buildings, you've got the organic gardens, and you've got wonderful, wonderful food. You've also got dedicated swimming pools in each, plus gyms in 3 of the valleys. So it's a little bit more of an extensive wellness offering. But in addition, I mentioned to you that each lodge is different. Each lodge has a different name, a different theme, a different inspiration and look and feel, where the Aman lodges tend to be very, very similar down to the furniture in each lodge. And so it's a different concept in that sense as well. For me personally, I like the fact that when you travel from one valley to the other, you're surprised. You don't feel like it's the same. And I think that's a good selling point for Six Senses. Of course, you have to be the one to make that decision. But yes, so I'm going to show you here as well. This is our Thimphu Lodge. Again, the beautiful view from this lodge, stunning, overlooking the valley below. And this lodge, being in the royal capital, we call the Palace in the Sky. It's refined, it's elegant. You've got high soaring glass floor-to-ceiling windows, the prayer pavilion, and these reflecting ponds, which reflect the clouds as they pass over. Our lodges are destination lodges, and that means that you're close to all the sites, you're close to the town, but you're removed from it, let's say by a 25-minute drive, and then you're up in this beautiful natural setting surrounded by trees and forest, and you can hike and relax and just enjoy being at the lodge itself. The look of the Six Senses accommodation is light, airy, and it connects interior space with exterior space. You can also see the large outdoor seated terrace where you can just relax and have a coffee in the morning and enjoy the valley views. These are the largest lead-in room types in Bhutan at the moment. you're looking at least 65 to 70 square meters, even in the lead-in type, with a large ensuite bath, the living, and the dining room. The most important thing being the views. From every suite, even from the lead-in suite, you've got an amazing valley view. And this is true really of all the lodges. We're leaving Thimphu now. We're crossing over the Dochila Pass and we're coming down into Punakha. And as I mentioned to you, each valley is different. Punakha is a lower valley, so it tends to be lush, green, warmer, and you can see these beautiful rice terrace, tiered terraces there, bamboo thickets. It's an old valley as well with lots of history and culture, great for hiking and biking. This is our lodge here. Because it's an agricultural valley, our lodge is inspired by the farmhouse architecture of the valley. So instead of being inspired by the palace, you have this kind of rustic chic feel. And in the sort of the left side of the screen, you see this rather unusual looking building. We call that our flying farmhouse. You can see here there's an outdoor swimming pool, again, because the valley is warmer, a working rice field right below, and then the spa, which looks like little village houses just below that. So this is Six Senses Punakha. And this is the spa building there. And this is the beautiful zone where we set up cocktails. Alberto and I had a few drinks here the other night. We are leaving Punakha now, and we're driving further afield to Gangte. Gangte now is a valley which is very little visited. You can see here how traditional, quiet, natural it is. With the prayer flags, it's wonderful for hiking and biking. And I really recommend that you encourage your clients to get at least as far as Gangte, because this is Bhutan of yesteryear. This is an untouched valley where you can really experience the local culture as it was 30, 50 years ago. It's very much unchanged. And this valley is also famous for the black-necked cranes, which fly in here every autumn. It's a one-street town with a beautiful monastery at the top. Oh yeah, and there are the cranes. So they come here every year from Tibet, and they live in the valley in the wintertime before they return. And that's quite wonderful thing to see. Your higher elevation here, so you've got yaks and yak herders. So again, a really, really worthwhile place to explore if you can convince your clients. Oh, here's the lodge. I almost forgot to show you the lodge. The lodge here sits just above the crane center. We have wonderful views of the valley below. It's very, very cozy. It's a smaller lodge with only 8 suites and 1 2-bedroom villa. Again, because fewer guests come here. But I have to say, it's a lodge and also a valley that a lot of people tell me it was their favorite. So I hope you all have a chance to visit it at some point. And I hope when your clients come in to talk to you and they say, can we just stay 6 days? You say, no, you really need to spend at least 8 days and get out to beautiful Gangte. There you go. There's a fantastic photo from our lodge with this expansive view of the valley below. Now, Boomtown is the last, or I could say the furthest east of the valleys where we have lodges. Very few Spanish guests get out this far. Hopefully one day that trend will change. But as I said, it's a longer journey. It requires a 4.5-hour drive from Gangte to get here. But if one does want to spend the time to discover Bhutan, this is kind of a heartland of Bhutan. It was where the kings first made their royal capital. There are a lot of pilgrimage sites here. There's a beautiful old fortress. There's a wonderful museum and very good hiking opportunities. The good thing is if you get out as far as Boomtown, you can take a domestic flight back to where you started in Paro. And in 35 minutes, you're back at the starting point rather than driving, 8 or 9 hours to get there. So this is the lodge, again, a small lodge with 8 suites and 1 2-bedroom villa. I love this lodge very much. It has a real sense of almost forest bathing. It's surrounded by trees. There's a river running below, set high on a hill, so you hear the sound of rushing water. And there's a lot of natural light. And it's just a wonderful place to really disconnect, relax, and explore the valley. And you could easily spend 3 nights in Boomtown and not run out of things to see or do. And as I mentioned to you, if you get to Boomtown, you can fly back 35 minutes and you've arrived then in beautiful Paro. And I think if you've ever seen a photo of Bhutan, it was probably this photo, because this is like our Leaning Tower of Pisa, or our Eiffel Tower. This is Tiger's Nest. This is the iconic symbol of Bhutan. It's an 8th century monastery, a cliff-hanging monastery. It sits almost about 3,000 meters above the valley floor. And it's just a marvel, because can you imagine how they could have built this monastery to hang off the side of the cliff like this? It's very, very important for local people. It's a pilgrimage site because this is where they believe an 8th century saint flew in on the back of a tiger and landed here and brought Buddhism into Bhutan. And so for local people, it's a must go to. And of course, for our guests, for our visitors, like Alberto mentioned, he trekked there this morning, and it's really a highlight. So we often try to finish the tour here in Paro. And Paro itself is a wonderful town with a beautiful old fortress. And again, you've got rice fields and farmhouses and all of that. Here's our lodge. It sits almost 3,000 meters above the valley floor, and we call this lodge Stone Rooms. Again, you see how different this lodge is from the other ones I've shown you. Here, the lodge was made from locally cut stone, and at the center of the photo, you can see a 16th century fortress, which is in a state of ruin, but which is very beautiful, and it adds to the landscape. And this is what inspired us here with this lodge. And again, look at the amazing mountain views that you have. This is another shot of that lodge and the interiors. It's warm, it's cozy. You see a lot of wood and a lot of local stone. And this is the suite, and the view is amazing from this lodge. I'm just showing you this tiny little monastery, which sits 2 minutes away from our lodge, where we often bring our guests to have a blessing before they go home. And this is the famous 108 butter lamp blessing. I think I have something important to mention to you, which I haven't actually said. And that is, apart from being 5 lodges, Six Senses Bhutan is also, we operate also as a tour company, we can say, or as a DMC when our guests want us to. So what that means is, let's say your guests are very keen on a Six Senses journey. We actually do everything for you. So from curating the program to putting together the experiences, and we have many Six Senses signature experiences, which are just for our guests. The car, the guide, the driver, the entrance fees, all of that is packaged up by us. And if your guests stay 6 nights or more with Six Senses, car, guide, driver, monument fees, temples are all included in the room price. So I just want to mention that to you. Of course, if you have your favorite DMC, you prefer to work with them, that's absolutely fine. We are also can just be the lodge. But if you want a Six Senses journey curated by us, we do this every day for our guests, and I think it goes very well. So I want to say that each valley has unique experiences, and we do put these together. And we also do the visas, we do the SDF, we can take care of the flights. I'm just showing you a landing because it's a very exciting landing into Paro. There's only 22 pilots in the world that are allowed to land here in Paro, but they do so with great skill, and we have a wonderful safety record to date. We have daily flights from Delhi, daily flights from Bangkok, a few flights a week from Calcutta, 2 flights a week from Singapore, 4 from Nepal, and they just added Dubai. So now there are 2 flights a week from Dubai to Paro on Turk Air, which is an exciting development for people who want to fly from Europe, land in Dubai, and then continue on just one connection to Paro and you're in Bhutan. Or of course, you can plan to spend a few nights in Dubai or in Bangkok before you come up and have your Bhutan journey. When to come? Well, traditionally, spring and autumn are the popular times. They have these wonderful festivals called Sechu. Actually, these take place year-round in different valleys at different dates, but the most famous ones happen in March, April, and September, October. So I think that's why these months are more popular than other months. Having said that, though, Bhutan is absolutely beautiful in the wintertime. You have the best view of the mountains, bright blue skies during the day. And in the summer, we are here now in June. It's green, it's lush. We don't tend to get extreme weather in Bhutan. So it's not like India or Vietnam where you have very, very heavy rains. We tend to have light passing showers, which leave the valleys very green, but don't prevent from doing the hikes or sightseeing or anything like that. So actually, in terms of offers, in terms of best pricing, summer and winter are your best bets. And We do have special offers for those periods, and we are seeing quite a few Spanish bookings coming in for the months of August, particularly when I think you have a long holiday in Spain. They're coming in August and in July, which is great. So my point being that Bhutan is a year-round destination. You don't have to be nervous about sending guests here in the summer or the winter. And, you know, throughout the year, they can enjoy wonderful experiences here. I'll just end my presentation by saying that Bhutan is the kind of destination that people are looking for today, particularly high-end travelers who want, as I said, an authentic travel experience, the ability or the chance to interact with local people in meaningful ways, to escape from the daily stresses of life back home and the busy pace of work that we all face, and to really be reflective, quiet, introspective, and to engage, we can say, and maybe reconnect with ourselves. I think Bhutan is a place that makes people think and feel and go back with some very, very special memories of their time here. So I'll stop here and I'll close this. And then maybe Alberto, you want to say a word or two? I just have to figure out how to escape.
Bueno, primero de todo decir que bien lo ha hecho David. Thank you very much, David. Fantástico, como siempre. Bueno, pues datos un poquito importantes para el mercado de España, como comentaba antes Claudine, tener en cuenta que en muchas de las ocasiones tenemos que hacer una noche previa. Por eso decía Claudine que el itinerario normal para el mercado español son 6 noches. En este caso, la primera noche yo la he hecho en Katmandú. Se puede hacer de alguna forma tanto por Bangkok como también por Delhi. Y bueno, es normalmente el itinerario que de alguna forma solemos... ¿No se oye? ¿Ahora? ¿Ahora?
Ahora mejor, Alberto, se oía mal, flojo, sí.
¿Qué tal, Didac? Saludos. ¿Cómo estás?
Saludos, abrazo
Bueno,
fuerte desde Bután.
Muchas gracias. No, os estaba comentando que como datos curiosos para nosotros, para el mercado, tener en cuenta siempre que se suele hacer una noche previa, ¿no? Por la conexión en este caso. En mi caso ha sido por Katmandú, y comentaros que normalmente el itinerario que normalmente solemos ofrecer desde España son 6 noches o 7. Por lo tanto, los valles que solemos cubrir en esas 6 noches siempre va a ser, vamos a entrar por Paro, que es donde vamos a aterrizar. Nuestro primer valle va a ser Thimphu, iríamos a Punakha y de alguna forma volveríamos a Paro, porque la actividad de alguna forma más icónica, que es la visita al Tiger Nest, se hace siempre el último día por la climatización, ¿no? Porque de alguna forma estamos hablando de que estamos a 3.000 metros de altura y que de alguna forma necesitamos también aclimatarnos un poquito al país, ¿no? Yo compartir con vosotros que es un país único, como dice Claudine, te invita a desconectar del mundo. Hay muy poquito turismo, sabemos que hay una tasa también que hay que abonar como turista, y que, bueno, para aquellos que nos encanta viajar, pues te conecta con algo muy espiritual. Estamos hablando de Asia, pero de un país pues donde de alguna forma el pueblo, sobre todo cada una de las personas con las que te cruzas, hacen que sea una experiencia única, ¿no? No sé si tenéis algunas preguntas que podamos compartir en los próximos 5 minutos, para lo que normalmente estamos hablando, que siempre hacemos los webinars entre 35 y 40 minutos, y lo más importante es ahora si tenéis que abrir alguna pregunta que la podamos solucionar juntos.
Sí, muchas gracias, Alberto, y muchas gracias, Claudine. Thank you so much for your amazing presentation. It was so nice. And now maybe we can wait a few minutes for people to ask their questions if they have. Así que, bueno, vamos a dejar un ratito por si queréis preguntar cualquier cosa, cualquier duda que os haya surgido. Podéis abrir el micrófono y preguntar directamente a Claudine o a Alberto, y también podéis escribir por el chat si os sentís más cómodos. Mira.
Are
Vale.
there any minimum age of the accommodation? No. We have travelers of all ages. We have families coming. Sometimes we see people with very small babies. We have teenagers. So no, we've had guests from 6 months to 90, believe it or not.
Thank you, Claudine. We also have another one.
Yeah.
Oct-
Yes, October is a very so Adelia, October is a very popular month. I would say traditionally the most popular months are October and April, and these are definitely good months to travel to Bhutan. But again, you don't have to travel in October. You might choose to come a little bit off season and enjoy better rates, even fewer people. But yes, it's considered a very popular month.
Voy a ser yo quien te responda, Irene. El tipo de maleta puede ser de la tipología cualquiera, desde que de alguna forma te presentas en el hotel, hay un servicio de maletería y de alguna forma te van a ayudar tanto a llevarla a la habitación como de alguna forma a volverla a poner en el transfer, ¿no? Así que eso no es un inconveniente.
Apologies. And regarding the family, I don't know if it's a family trip, because I mean, if the kids or the parents want to do the trekking, what would you do with a kid? I mean, is there like nice trekkings as well for younger?
Yes, absolutely. Whether they're younger or older people, fitness levels vary greatly. And the nice thing is in Bhutan that you have a variety of treks, hikes, or walks that can accommodate different levels of fitness and ability, different lengths of time. If they're very small children, we've seen some parents coming with this kind of child backpack and put them in the back and up they go. But also if the parents want to go out for the day and have the kids do some kid activities or this kind of thing is also possible. I've seen some of the guides carrying people's children up to Tiger's Nest.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Sí, es importante. ¿Qué tal, Cristina? ¿Cómo estás?
¿Qué tal? Muy mal aquí comparado con vosotros.
La verdad es que sí, no te voy a negar que es una experiencia única. Bueno, sobre el Tiger Nest, que es uno de los trekking que todo el mundo de alguna forma quieren hacer, el lodge está a 2.800, salimos del lodge de alguna forma en un traslado que vamos a estar 30 minutos hasta el inicio del mismo y hay que decir que son 650 metros de desnivel. No hay ninguna prisa, no hay, el guía te va a ayudar, te va a acompañar, pero es cierto que los pasitos los tiene que dar cada uno de forma individual. Yo creo que te vas retroalimentando también un poco del paisaje, de ir viéndolo porque lo vas viendo sobre tu mano derecha en el desfiladero, que decir cuando ya estás en el mirador, ¿no? El mirador de alguna forma es esas imágenes, ¿no? que tenemos muchos idealizadas y en nuestra retina y es una visita increíble. Más o menos son 2 horitas y media aproximadamente, tanto los guías van con agua, van con bebida, van con paraguas, es decir, que el cliente siempre va a estar acompañado y que no va a ser un trekking al uso donde te vas
que
a
vas tú
encontrar.
por tu cuenta y...
Pero sí es cierto y hay que decirlo, ¿no? Hay que ser también realistas, que los pasos los tiene que dar cada uno, es decir, que al final si hacemos ese tipo de actividades o si hacemos alguna actividad o si volvemos a andar, nos va a ayudar de alguna forma a que sea más fácil, ¿no? Ese acceso, pero merece la pena.
Y si tienes una parejita como de señores mayores que quieran ver Tiger Nest, ¿hay alguna forma de llevarles en coche?
La primera parte se puede hacer en burro, eso es muy importante.
En burro, vale.
La primera parte se hace en burro, se alquila, digamos de alguna forma, se contrata el burro, pero la segunda parte hay como una cafetería que es la que divide, en este caso,
La
las
partida
dos
de
partes.
trekking, vale,
La
vale.
segunda parte, a ver, el trazado es un trazado de escalones, que sí que es bien, que tiene un buen piso y que de alguna forma va a ser accesible, o sea, no es que estemos hablando de un trazo difícil, pero repito que tenemos que ser nosotros los que demos en este caso los pasitos.
Vale.
No creo que tuvieran mucho problema, me parecería un destinazo para ellos.
Vale. Mil gracias.
Vuelo para Bhutan sale de paro, vuelo de paro para Bhutan. Es muy importante decir esto, bueno, lo resumo con permiso de Claudine. De Bhutan a paro tenemos 8 horas, por lo tanto normalmente si vamos haciendo el hilo de los valles haríamos, como hemos comentado, primero haríamos Thimphu, luego haríamos Punakha y luego haríamos Gantei. De Gantei en este caso, a Paro, que es de donde vamos a coger el vuelo de regreso, tenemos 5 horas. Si nos fuéramos en coche, en este caso, desde Gantei hasta Bhutan, tendríamos otras 2 horas y media. Por lo tanto, son 8 horas de regreso, en este caso, por carretera. Solemos recomendar de alguna forma hacerlo en vuelo doméstico. Por lo tanto, lo natural de Bhutan sería o hacerlo, en este caso, a la llegada, dado que estamos en Paro y vamos a ir a Bhutan, volveríamos a Paro y luego continuaríamos, en este caso, el itinerario normal, o una vez que hemos vuelto del regreso y estamos en Paro, en el final haríamos ida y vuelta al Valle de Bhutan. También muy aconsejable. Los vuelos domésticos son diarios, el de Bhutan es
Twice, it's 2 or 3 times a week.
3 veces a la semana.
Yes.
Sobre me dice, bueno, me comenta en este caso Claudine, ella también por el idioma, si había quedado de alguna forma claro, ¿no? Todo el paquete, que a partir de 6 noches, en este caso, si toda la estancia es con Six Senses, los guías, los traslados, los accesos, en este caso a los monasterios, estaría de alguna forma paquetizado y lo tendríamos todo incluido. Es independiente, así en este caso lo hacemos con nuestro corresponsal de confianza, donde a veces no se combina todas las propiedades de Six Senses, sino que las podemos de alguna forma hacer una propiedad de Six Senses y alguna otra, pues de otra marca hotelera diferente, ¿no? Me comenta también Claudine que os haga referencia también a la oferta que de alguna forma hemos extendido también, de extensión de 7 noches con 5 noches de pago. Cualquier duda, cualquier pregunta, nos escribís al equipo de Basis y estaremos encantados de ayudaros con cualquier duda. No sé si tenéis alguna pregunta más.
Hay una
Antes de
pregunta
terminar,
más de
creo
Noelia.
que Noelia. ¿Qué tal, Noelia? Un saludo. El régimen en este caso suele ser en pensión completa. Sí, es así. De alguna forma se viene con el paquete de alguna forma de todo incluido. O sea, no de todo incluido al uso, pero todas las comidas están incluidas desde el desayuno. La experiencia, hay que pensar que normalmente siempre la comida la vamos a hacer fuera del lot, porque de alguna forma va a estar vinculada a alguna de las experiencias que viene preparado el equipo. Y creo que me había dejado por ahí, Berta, no sé si me ayudas, había preguntado, Didac había hecho una pregunta, no sé si la logras ver, yo no la logro ver, un poquito más arriba y con esa terminamos si quieres.
Didac ha puesto un comentario muy bonito en inglés para Claudine y bueno, para la marca, pero no es una
Muchísimas
pregunta.
gracias. A ver,
No, no, es simplemente un comentario al uso. Primero sobre Bután, que es un enorme destino.
muchas
It's a,
gracias,
it's a,
Didac.
it's a very amazing destiny, Bután, absolutely. Y además, bueno, aconsejarlo, como os decía al final, que yo que he tenido la suerte de verlo en varias ocasiones, el tema de Bután, si uno puede incluirlo, es absolutamente extraordinario. Es un plus de Bután. El Yakar Festival de Bután no se parece a nada. Y si uno puede, pues merece mucho la pena.
Muchísimas gracias, totalmente de acuerdo. Al final es una cuestión de días, una cuestión de presupuesto, y si uno puede y se lo puede permitir estar en los 5 valles, es algo que recomendamos porque es una experiencia única. Así que compartido contigo y muchas gracias por el comentario. Pilar, un fuerte abrazo. Sí, Pilar Cañavera nos pregunta si agosto es... Bueno, todos los meses son fantásticos. Al final, uno de los plus que tiene Bután es que al final es un destino para todo el año. Lo vamos a descubrir en cada una de las estaciones. Podemos verlo, pues quizás con un poquito de nieve, podemos verlo como ahora en junio, con más sol, más verde, y luego podemos de alguna forma también descubrirlo en la parte de septiembre, con festivales muy importantes. Es muy recomendable. Y por último, enseñaros lo que
Look
sería
how handsome Alberto is. Look
el
at
traje
him.
típico, de alguna
Wow.
forma
Wow.
que
Wow.
os aseguro que frío no vais a pasar porque da un calor tremendo. Sería algo que de alguna forma es el traje típico de Bután y bueno, con lo que de alguna forma os hemos querido también presentaros. Así que daros las gracias a todos los guías. hablan solo
Muchas
inglés, mayoritariamente, perdón, esto es muy importante, muchas gracias Miriam. Los guías hablan solo inglés, los guías son principalmente todos en inglés. Lo que sí que tenemos es un traductor del guía, ¿vale? Porque los guías tienen que ser oficiales, por lo tanto van a ser siempre locales, pero se puede incluir un traductor para esa traducción, ¿vale? Los guías y doy un beso muy fuerte. Muchísimas gracias a todos. Me hace especial ilusión.
Gracias.
Gracias a Claudine,
Kadinche,
porque la verdad,
Kadinche.
deciros como España, ¿no? Como Oasis Consulting, que tenemos un apoyo fantástico en el destino, siempre nos ayuda en todo lo que puede. Y que si tenéis alguna excepción con alguna reserva que tenga cualquier tipo de connotación, hacernos partícipe, porque seguro que el equipo vamos a hacer por ayudaros y porque sea una venta para vosotros. Así que desde aquí, desde Paro, yo, bueno, feliz, ¿no?
Yeah, we are looking forward to welcoming your clients.
Así que nada, os
Thank you very
despedimos.
much. Gracias.
Thank you so much
Gracias,
for your
Irak,
time,
gracias a todos. Anila, un
everybody.
beso muy fuerte. José,
Gracias a todos.
gracias a todos. Muy guapa, Berta, muchísimas gracias. Un besito.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Berta, qué raro se me hace verte desde aquí, ¿eh?
Ah.
Nos esperamos el jueves que viene, ¿es, no, Berta?
Sí.
O el martes. Jueves.
No, jueves que viene, jueves que viene.
Pues nos vemos prontito. Gracias a todos por seguirnos. Por lo demás, Berta, como siempre, gracias por liderar este apartado de
Gracias.
Oasis. Un besito.
Gracias. Bye.
Chao, 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 chao. Khusus Sambola. Adiós.
Kusampu.
Chao, chao.